In every civilization, there are environments that cater to all walks of life. In Albion, the humans also follow this natural rule. The population of the towns and cities reside within permanent homes and are protected by the walls to keep out invaders. The population of Driftwood live in caravans after moving from an established camp within the Millfield region after being forced out, and even the residents of Understone live in isolation underground, believing the world above to have been destroyed. Humanity has taken each region and made it work. Who resides within the challenging Mistpeak Mountains, and why do they stay there? Here we explore in the lore behind the Dweller tribe. Believed by some to have originated from the gypsy camp in the region once known as Bower Lake, the nomadic members left and travelled around the unpopulated regions of Albion. For years, they set up camp in various locations searching for the perfect place to call home. With their caravans and self-sufficient lifestyle, they could quickly pack up and leave if needed, while requiring only little from the towns and cities around Albion. Within the clan, the group appointed a leader that guided them and looked after them. As a close-knit community, they lived off the land and treated each other with respect. While the clan were fairly content with their life, they would not be complete until finding a place to settle and create a home. After years of travelling, they came across the valley of Mistpeak. Here, they found their home. Some say the valley called to them and heard its welcoming song. The children of the tribe could play in the valley's snow. The men and women could hunt in the forest for food and materials, and the tribe could now call themselves dwellers, a group that lived in a specific location. Taking ownership of the region in its entirety, the dwellers became the autonomous owners of Mistpeak Valley, where they governed themselves outside of the kingdom of Albion. While trusting in nature and finally having a perfect place to live, King Logan looked at the region and recognized all of the natural resources that could be used for industrial and architectural ventures. With his kingdom growing and a powerful army on his side, he began to destroy the forests for resources. This destruction slowly led to the animals of the region leaving, resulting in the dwellers struggling to find food to feed themselves. As the king's men came to take over the region and collect its resources, the dweller camp were forced to once again pack up and leave. Although extremely disappointed with how their home had turned out, they looked to the mountains for sanctuary. While the mountains appeared inhospitable, they believed that Logan would have no need for the resources there. Travelling once again, they came across a valley that had seemingly been untouched by humanity since the days of the Old Kingdom, the only remains being broken architecture and an ancient cullis gate, suggesting that this valley had once been a hub for transport in the ancient days. Although originally welcoming of outsiders, this whole ordeal had taught the camp not to be so trusting with their neighbours. Now moved in, the dwellers got to work. Surrounded by the valley, the dwellers had no need for walls for protection. They constructed a movable bridge over a steep drop so that they could choose who came into their home. Within, they set up caravans and stalls. At the top of the valley, their elder and king, Sabine, created a secondary, smaller region protected by wooden walls and a gate so that he could look over the valley with safety. While protected from the other humans and creatures that roamed the region just past their bridge, the residents of the dweller camp now had to deal with another threat: nature. Forced into this aggressive and inhospitable region, the residents had to deal with freezing cold temperatures. While they now wore fur coats to keep themselves warm, the cold still hit them hard. Outside of a regular hunting region, the tribe struggled to find animals to hunt and basic materials to gather. Travelling outside of their valley would only put them in danger as balverines and wolves roamed the area. Although cold, hungry, and lacking the basic essentials, the tribe were proud of where they had come from and what they had accomplished after being forced from their home. They saw pride in their strength and ability to survive in such a dangerous environment. Through their hardships, their king had led them well and stopped them from collapsing. While they survived under these challenging conditions, the dwellers continued to struggle over time. A bandit camp set up within Mistpeak began to attack members of the clan, hoping to acquire the little food the dwellers had. With no law enforcement in the area, the dwellers had to defend themselves when attacked, reducing their numbers. With less and less food to hunt, Sabine looked to the village of Brightwall, believing that they would have resources to share, but with a terrible economy consisting of merely 3 stalls, they had nothing to offer the village in return for food. Barely surviving, Sabine and his tribe grew a strong combined hatred towards the king that had taken their home from them. While aware of the struggles of the dwellers, the other regions of Albion simply ignored their needs. After an incident at Bowstone Castle, the king's younger sibling escaped at night through secret tunnels. From here, they made their way to the dweller camp under the advisement of Sir Walter Beck, hoping to use the hatred of the dwellers to convince them to join a revolution against the king. While untrusting of a stranger and royalty in their camp, on their arrival, the residents begged for gold in the small chance that they would get some. Meeting with Sabine, he gave the young hero 3 conditions in order for him to join their cause. The first condition, he ordered the hero to retrieve an artifact locked away in a dangerous dungeon to prove their worth as a hero. For his second condition, he ordered the hero to clear out the bandit camp that had attacked the tribe for their food. And finally, the third, to convince the neighbouring village of Brightwall to give them supplies in order to live and gather strength. After completing these tasks, the dweller camp now had food from Brightwall and security from mercenary attacks. Before signing up his tribe for this revolution, Sabine gave one final condition, that once this hero became the ruler of Albion, Sabine and his people would have formal recognition of their ownership of the Mistpeak region and protection from the kingdom to live there. Therefore, they could live and thrive without the region around them being destroyed for resources. Accepting this request, the hero moved on to acquire other regions in aid of the revolution. With a successful negotiation, the dwellers had something to look forward to, a chance to return to their land. Recognized as an important and strong group of people, the Brightwall Academy approached the tribe and asked them for their history. With this, one night, Sabine and his bodyguard, Boulder, wrote a small amount about the tribe and its history and sent it off the next morning. With this, the residents of Brightwall and those that visited the academy could learn of the tribe's adventures and what they had gone through to survive. During the revolution, the dwellers played their part and successfully cleared a way for the hero's army to access the castle. With the revolution successful, Sabine advocates for the execution of Logan and for the hero to fulfill their promise and restore Mistpeak to its former glory and hand it over to the dwellers. Having threatened to begin a second revolution against the hero ruler if they went against their promise, it is unknown whether the ruler kept their word or continued to farm the region for resources in preparation for their battle against the darkness. What is known is that over the next 50 years, the dwellers continued to grow and thrive, even some leaving and moving into the northern region of the Edgelands. The dwellers are noted to be the most resilient population in the land of Albion. Their strong will, hard work, and close-knit community have allowed them to thrive in a region where many would not. I ask Hero, if you were a part of this community, would you tough it up and attempt to survive in the cold Mistpeak Mountains, or go off alone and attempt to make it on your own? The theory. Sabine knew the hero of Brightwall would come. Here we'll take a theory about the Fable universe and try to attempt to make sense of it using facts and lore from Albion. If you have any theories for future videos, let me know. Sabine knew the hero of Brightwall would come. Okay, so it took a little while to figure out a theory for this week, as dwellers are pretty much easy to cover and their intentions are, in my opinion, pretty obvious. But the more I thought about it, I thought that the dwellers' situation with being forced from their land was probably orchestrated in a grand plan to get the hero of Brightwall on the throne. In point 2, I'll explain who did this, but you've probably guessed already. These guys were simply another chess piece in a huge game, and I think that Sabine was aware of his role to play well before the hero of Brightwall escaped the castle. As usual, we'll begin with point 1. The Mistpeak Mountains are an awful region to live in, so in the lore, we covered how the Dweller tribe found their perfect home and lived in harmony. That was, until Logan came along and started destroying the region, resulting in them leaving a perfect place for a region covered in snow, the icy cold weather, and the area generally being extremely inhospitable. Now, why would they stay? After Reaver evacuated the gypsy camp in Bower Lake, they moved to the lovely region of Driftwood, a place where they could set up a home in a really nice area, but not the Dweller camp. They went into the mountains and stayed. Okay, I understand the appeal of going somewhere where Logan would not find value in resources, but they stayed there. The place was absolutely awful. I believe that they must have had a reason that outweighed the terrible living conditions. You notice them when you visit there initially. A little girl literally offers you her doll in exchange for gold. This is not how a tribe should live. If anything, you would leave for a better location. Maybe follow the guys to Driftwood. They're both essentially nomadic tribes and could blend together. I honestly cannot think of a legitimate reason why Sabine kept his tribe in that region, simply watching them suffer. Now, point 2, Teresa. We all know by now that Teresa, the Blind Seer, was essentially playing 5D chess in an attempt to make specific events happen to get a result that she wanted. This point covers Sabine's perception of events, so I think that Teresa needed an easy ally for the hero of Brightwall to get on board with the rebellion first. And maybe she put things in motion for Logan to look at the Mistpeak Valley region to drive the Dwellers into a situation where they would have to move and hate the king. Maybe when they had settled and started to think, oh, we don't like it here, let's move. She appeared to Sabine and told him to stay and things would get better. What if she told him a hero would come and change the way things have been? I know that there are a lot of what ifs, but this is Teresa. It is something that she would do. It is the only reason I can think that Sabine would choose to let his people suffer in the cold. Also, how else would Sabine know about the music box under the Brightwall Academy? I looked and could not find any record of Sabine interacting with the hero of Bowstone. It seems like information that Teresa could have fed Sabine so that he could truly confirm her prophecy when the hero arrives. I think that he was just simply following the orders and manipulation of Teresa. It's the only way I believe that they would stay there. Finally, point 3. Why the Dwellers? Well, I think this simply comes down to them being a nomadic tribe. When you meet the gypsies in the gypsy camp in Fable 2, and when you meet them in Fable 3 in Driftwood, they're probably the friendliest people in the game. Free spirits. Now, although the Dweller camp had been burned and disregarded by the rest of Albion when they could have done with some help, I think that their positive nature would still be there. You see it when Sabine is giving his instructions to the hero. He is being fair and open-minded, and again, when he blows up the gate, they are generally positive people when they forget about their miserable environment. Also, this first ally would look great to the resistance of Bowstone, who themselves are oppressed people. The hero going to them after having helped a struggling group of people no one wants to help would appear amazing to Paige and her group. It adds yet another dimension to Teresa's manipulation. I guess I could justify any event that happens between Fable 2 and Fable 3 and say, Teresa did it. She has the power of foresight and has committed terrible actions for her agenda in the past. While this initially would not be regarded as a terrible action, if you think about it, it is. She presumably had the Dwellers removed from their land and then told them to wait for however long for a hero to come and save them instead of letting them just move on to a nicer location, maybe Driftwood. Again, this is all theoretical, but this is something I'm going to add to my mind canon. I like the idea that Teresa put you on the same path as the Dwellers. I'm sure she somehow nudged Walter in the same direction too. What do you think? Was the hero meeting Sabine and his tribe simply a random sequence of events, or did Teresa set up this situation to get him on the correct path? I think she did, and Sabine was just sitting in his little tent with his bodyguard, waiting for the day that Walter and the hero appeared in the ancient Cullis Gate. I don't know a lot about flags, but are the Dwellers sponsored by Pepsi? I'm sorry, bad joke. I might keep that in, who knows. I hope you enjoyed this theory. I know I did. Now hero, enjoy your day.